This Venezuela situation has been eating away at me. Uh, Particularly the implications that the United States has revealed some capabilities that might be needed in other situations. Now, let me preface this by saying that it's long been people who are in the loop or in a loop adjacent to the loop have been aware that the capabilities of the United States or the Eyes friends of the United States, of which the United States is part of, have capabilities. I've heard it said 10 times, 100 times what is apparent in the real world. That is, defense capabilities, very exotic capabilities to project force around the world. Where they got this, how they got this, who knows? But it's somehow exotic technology. And if you knew what they could do, it would be very surprising. Now, the idea is that the U.S. would hold back showing this or confirming any of it because it would be a signal to other allies who or adversaries really who are content in their developing country languor that everything is fine. That they've got the capabilities. There's some guards around the presidential palace, and the U.S. Wouldn't dare try anything, and these countries have the protection of their leaders under control. So this relates back to the reveal of the stealth technology in the late 70s, early 2000s, when previously unknown programs in general of the stealth technology was revealed to the world. Now, I know there's a lot of revisionist theories out there that says that stealth technology was known way in the past. It was an open secret, et cetera, et cetera. But I think in reality, in terms of a lot of defense programs in other countries, United States adversaries that were put into play after that, people were not that aware of, the Soviet Union was kind of content that they had things, that they had a good deterrent to what the U.S. could throw at them. And then this was the Carter administration revealing that this technology was not just a rumor, but it was a real thing. It was coming due for some open budget allocation soon. It sent a signal to the adversaries that, hey, that they need to step up their game. We need to work on our radar systems. If the U.S. is really going to be able to fly planes that do not have radar, that can't be seen on radar over our countries, gosh, we gotta work on this. We can no longer be content. And so this is the same idea now, before the Venezuela snatching of their president, where the U.S. had some sort of exotic technology, but if you use it, you show your adversaries they need to step up their game. And this would be countries like China, like Russia. Like, what if we wanted to snatch Putin? Well, we're probably not going to be able to now because we've alerted the Russians, we've alerted the Chinese, the North Koreans, that there are exotic technologies that the U.S. can deploy in these situations to just grab away a leader, kill everybody who's around them, grab him, take him away, no muss, no fuss. And then you have the question about, was the Venezuela situation, did it really rise to the level that you would use this technology and expose it to the world and thus make it probably less usable or unusable in other situations? Might it have been better to hold it back? And someday who knows where the tensions with Russia might go, or China? Might you want to snatch one of those leaders and make that situation the situation where the technology is revealed to the world? This is the problem with what happened in Venezuela, because I think most people think that Venezuela was an elective situation that didn't rise to the level of using this technology. And certainly someone like Trump, is he sees this shiny new toy that he knows about and he can use, and he might perhaps have used it without considering these consequences that it then going forward makes it that much more complicated to use all of this methodology that they use to snatch away the Venezuelan leader in other situations. And in other situations, it might be more critical and important to the strategic interests of the United States, if not the world, at some point. So I don't know, this thought had been rattling around in my head because a lot of people are saying, like this article, what the alleged sonic weapon used in Venezuela may have actually been, you know. But it doesn't really matter. Uh, all that happened was the United States showed it can go in and pluck out a leader, despite the guards that are around him, despite the security arrangements, despite his contentment in thinking that he is secure where he is, and it has alerted every other despots around the world that they need to step up their game, and they're not going to be caught out in the same way as a Venezuelan president. And it means that in the future, if there's a critical situation where that exotic technology is going to be employed, it's not going to be a surprise now. It's been known, and every security agency, every presidential protection agency in the world is going to be analyzing all of this and creating countermeasures for it. So this is the problem with letting the cat out of the bag. Whether it's this, whether it's the stealth technology decades ago, we're alerting adversaries that we have some exotic technology. And I was going to say, here's the other point. You know, the Tic Tac UFOs all around the world. Some people dismiss it to say, oh, it's China's exotic technology. Well, now that you've heard everything I've said, I think we can realize if China had super exotic technology that made the U.S. Abilities in flight look like child's play, to just the Tic Tacs going in and out of the water, shooting off into space, you know, moving in ways that the U.S. are just stunned at, that the pilots are just amazed are happening. If the Chinese had that technology, they wouldn't just use it or expose it now to show that, that the U.S. needs to step up its game. They would keep it close to their vest because they're playing a big power game now. They're saying, now, we may invade your big allies. We may invade Taiwan. We're essentially at war with the Philippines. We're putting our tendrils out all around Southeast Asia. We're going head to head with the U.S. in all these different ways. They want the U.S. to think that their technology is conventional. It is what it is, and let the U.S. wonder about if they have some groundbreaking technology that makes the U.S. looks like a chump. They don't want to expose it at this point. So that's why it's very unlikely that this Tic Tac UFO situation is simply just China just flying its exotic weapons around. So everybody knows they need to do some extra homework to keep up with China. China wouldn't want to expose that. So anyway, these are a few thoughts about the Venezuela situation, exotic technology, and the problem with using exotic technology, because you're letting other people know they better get serious about countermeasures. Thanks for listening.